Today, we're looking at AI workflows specifically for freelancers, service providers, and coaches. And if you want to shortcut the process from acquiring your new clients all the way to delivering the final projects and getting paid, I'm going to give you 3 AI workflows that will give you an edge. Now, here is the truth. When it comes to AI workflows and AI tools, there are hundreds of them out there, and it can be very overwhelming to know which one are actually useful. And most importantly, which one will actually save you time. So in this video, I'm going to break down the very best ones. By the way, I'm Joey, and I've been doing this for 7 years, and AI and automation is all I do all day. Okay, so workflow number 1 is going to be to turn client meetings into free content and automated tasks. So 2 things here. First, as service providers, we spend a lot of time on client meetings. And let's be honest, a lot of time we kind of forget the things that we said we were going to do on that call. Second, creating content can take a lot of time. And I'm talking about LinkedIn posts, YouTube, or whatever you're doing to attract clients. And what we don't realize is that those client calls can be really good content ID generators. And that's what this AI workflow is going to fix. And so for this, you're going to need a free Firefly's AI account. And what this is essentially is an AI assistant that's going to come into every single one of your client calls and listen to everything. And essentially, just to show an example in Zoom, this is what it would look like. So you're going to have the Firefly note taker assistant that you have to admit into the room, just like anyone else. And it's just going to sit there and it's going to be on mute by default. And it's just going to listen to everything that is said inside of the meeting. And after you're done with the meeting, it's going to send you a transcript and a list of tasks. So this is an example of a call I've had, and you can see that after the meeting, it's automatically created all of those tasks and assigned different people to it. So this is all built in already into Fireflies, but if you want those tasks to appear in your task management software, so for example, Trello, Asana, or ClickUp, then you can do that and connect it in Fireflies right here, and it will create all of those tasks inside of your task management software automatically after the call. Another feature that's also baked into Fireflies is to send a follow-up email after the meeting with, again, all of the notes and the task and everything that needs to be done. So that's all already into Fireflies. And if that's all you need, then you're good to go and you don't have to do anything else. But if you want the second thing that I mentioned, which was to also create content ideas based on the meeting and what you talked about, then this is when the second part is going to come in. So as I said earlier, I think that in client meetings, there are a bunch of things that we don't realize, but that we show to client, talked about with client, and that can be really good content ideas for you and your business. One very simple option to do this would be just to simply drop the meeting transcript into ChatGPT and then use a prompt like this. So you are a content strategist, and based on the following meeting summary and transcript, do one thing: generate 3 content ideas with short description and working titles. Again, this would be a very easy way to get from the transcript a bunch of content ideas they can use later on. What I would actually recommend as often would be to actually use a project for this, where you can upload more detailed instructions and prompt, and also upload a few examples. And you can also upload files and different example of what you're looking for and the structure for the content ideas that you prefer. And then every time that you have a new transcript, come here, drop the new transcript, and it will just pop you out the different content IDs every time. Now that would be the more simple manual way to do this, but now I'm going to show you the automated way to do this, because obviously that's always more fun. So in N8N, what this would look like is first for you to create a Google folder in a Google Drive, where you're going to upload all of those Fireflies transcript every time a new meeting is ending. Then that's going to be the trigger for our workflow here. That's going to be the first node. Then we're going to pass this on to a basic LLM chain with the same prompt that I've shown you earlier in the manual process. So let me just expand it. But again, it's the same prompt that I've shown you in the ChatGPT here. And then it's going to be passed on to Trello or whichever task management you're using to update a specific card that we have in there with all of the content ideas that comes from those client meetings. Again, that's the fancy and automated way to do this, but of course you can just go with the manual way and just do this inside of a project in ChatGPT as well. Now, workflow number 2 is going to be to use AI for lead generation. Now, if you think about it, the hottest lead that you could find would be people that are already looking for your services, right? And there are already a bunch of people doing this right now on platforms like Upwork. So obviously, if you're looking at your lead generation, it would be great to have a list and name and email of all of those people so that you can reach out to them and see if you can help. Now, full disclosure, this is technically against Upwork TNC, so I'm just going to say that, and you can go ahead and make your own decision. And it's also not impossible that this API breaks at some point, but hey, it works for now, so you can go ahead and try it if you want. So this is the N8N workflow, and essentially the end goal, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to go into Upwork and scrap the leads, the people that are actually posting on Upwork, find who they are, their name, and find their email so that we have this list of leads that we can potentially reach out to offer our services. So just to run you through the different nodes here pretty quickly, this is using the API scrapper that's going to, again, just scrap through Upwork the different jobs. I know that in this scrapper on API, you can specify the different categories that you're looking for and just make sure that you get the most relevant needs. And then we're going to pass this on to a LLM chain with a pretty simple prompt to extract the name, company name of those people, making sure that we actually find them. So that's what the switch is for here. Sometimes you're not going to find the name of the person or company that is posting the job. But then if we do find a name, we're going to try to find those people on LinkedIn, and we're going to use a API call from Phantom Buster, which is another scrapper of LinkedIn. We're going to try to find that company profile, and then we're going to try to enrich this with the company email. That's going to be using a call to Intr.io. And then we're going to store all of this into a Google Sheet so that we can reach out to those people later on. Again, pretty quick and dirty, but this might be a really good source of leads for you. And if you approach and send an email to those people the right way, then this can get you a really good result. Workflow number 3 is probably the easiest and best way to save a ton of time for each of your clients, and B, deliver a better service. And this is about creating projects in ChatGPT for each of your clients. And I mentioned this in other videos, but this way of working with your clients, this workflow, is going to give you such a big edge. So essentially what I'm talking about here is to create a project for each new client. And you can put a bunch of things in there. Like you can just upload all of the documents related to your project, the signed agreement, the deliverable list that you gave to the client, the onboarding questionnaire, the branding guidelines, the ideal customer avatar that you may have built with the client, all of the market research, but also examples of past and similar projects that you have so that you can easily just sort of duplicate the efforts that you put in before on other projects. And then you can set up a system prompt to add context around, who you are, who the client is, and the general rules, but also just how and when to use the documents that we've uploaded in the file section. And so here is an example of such system prompt, but here I've taken the example of a website designer and just using this workflow for his client. So we're going to start with just some general instructions, give it some context about the project and all of the tasks that we want to do for the client, some example of past work and the kind of things that we want, and just a bunch of other things like formatting that would be useful every time that I come into this project and ask a question and just sort of build upon that for this particular client. And so anything that you want to get done for this client using AI to just make it a bit better and easier, you can come into that project and prompt the project. The output will be of so much better quality than starting a fresh new chat in ChatGPT and trying to engineer this massive, one-shot prompt to have the results that you wanted. But in this case, it will have a lot more context and it will be a lot more consistent throughout the different prompts and things that you need to do for this client. And you can easily just create a template that you can replicate for each new client, and you'll just have to change the files that you upload, maybe a bit of the system prompt, but that's pretty much it. And there you have it, the 3 AI workflows that will give you a massive edge over other freelancers if you actually implement them. Now, if you're in the earlier stages and still don't really know where AI can help in your business to, automate or just make things better, then go ahead and watch my last video about how to conduct a 10 minutes AI audit and see exactly where it could help. But if you're just looking to stay up to date with the latest AI workflow and automation, then go ahead and subscribe to my free newsletter. That's going to be in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.